Okay, YouTube is ready. Okay, just have to, just posting a link to Discord and doing a little thing on Facebook before we get started. Um, actually,
Cough drop.
did you catch a cold?
Oh no, I've just no. Where's the audio on here? Cause you can hear.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're
There we
watching
go. All
the
right.
stream on your end?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
But just so I can look into the chat.
Okay. Well, this is a
But no,
kind
I
of.
didn't have like a code. Huh?
I was actually gonna say that this is one of those like streams where in the video itself it's just like the footage of you and me, but you could still see the live chat um, in the comments, so that's all right.
No, that's why. Like, so I could look into the live chat, see if anybody's asking any questions or anything.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
But yeah, no cough or anything. It's just my voice has always been hoarse for like a long time now. So I just kind of try to do stuff to keep it as well as I can.
I see. Okay, so all right, I'll get my screenshot of Loose, and then we're ready to go. So, all right, so we can start.
Yeah, we good.
Mm-hmm. Or actually, let me also pull up the chat here on my tablet. Okay, so hey everybody, Bloodman Bobby and Gabby here. So we are taking a look at again,
Da, da, da,
pulling my best
da.
American Bandstand Dick Clark, the new Owl House episode, Separate Tides. So yes, this is the long-awaited season premiere of the second season of the Owl House, and yeah, so I guess we'll start off with like just kind of like overall thoughts of what you think of the episode, Gabby, and how are you doing? It's actually been really hot in SoCal lately because summer is creeping up.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Our house has good air conditioning, so I'm glad. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. The episode was amazing. I really liked it. I guess I'm probably like it's nothing like, oh my gosh, absolutely crazy stuff happened. That's just like doing a lot plot wise, but it's just for going into the first for the going into the first episode, second season. Um, it was definitely good energy. It's just kind of like, you know, I was quite I was quite hype. For me, it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I honestly, I'd say my thoughts on this episode are pretty identical to yours in that it's not like one of the really crazy episodes from the first season, like Understanding Willow, or the episode prior to the season finale where Eda gets captured. But it's the kind of thing where it's like they had all the pieces to make a good episode with a good story and good revelations, and it worked pretty well. There's one particular character that we'll talk about, who
Oh,
that is, but we'll get into that stream. But we'll get into that in this stream. So you want to kind of sum up what happens in this episode? You actually predicted that this was going to be like sort of Pirates of the Caribbean Owl House style, and basically it's what we
I
got.
mean, yeah, it's not technically pirates, but again, technically only because that the ship that they're on is like, not necessarily like stealing uh goods or anything from anybody else. It's more like a um how would I explain it? It's like there are groups of people who like go out to like claim rewards uh for tasks, almost like bounty hunting, but um, there's not necessarily like a criminal who has a debt to pay or anything
Mm-hmm.
in this sense, you know. There is kind of like that immorality aspect in that we find out that um, the task involves killing a creature and the creature's actually peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, technically, I don't think they are pirates per se. But Eda does have a moment where she kind of goes pirate, which I'm like, okay, we got one pirate here. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's the way I took it. It's basically think of it as pirate adventure. Just it's not like really called pirates, and it's not. I guess you could say as like morally gray, as
Oh
that sort
yeah.
of thing. And basically, Luce is going on this like I guess you could say like quest to pick up this bounty hunting by killing off this creature that we first think is like this ferocious beast as a way to kind of build up morale, and she kind of sees herself as a burden to Eda, and she blames herself
Oh yeah.
for all the things that Eda has gotten into in the latter half of the season, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And again, it's only like the little technical aspects that kind of don't count. The whole deal is pirates, but I mean, that's just getting nitpicky, right?
Yeah. I mean, but I guess it's still kind of fun to. I mean, even if they're not pirates, it's still kind of fun to think of it as like it's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean Owl House
Yeah, I
style.
mean, there's like the thing where they go,
Mm-hmm.
"Arr," so yeah.
Yeah. Although one big omission that would probably make my sister Penny sad is there's no scene where Luce runs around with a jar saying, "I got a jar, dirt. Guess what's
I
inside
got a
it?"
jar dirt.
Yeah. Penny loves that scene from what was that the second Pirates where Jack Sparrow was running around with like a jar and saying, "I got a jar, dirt."
That's the one where he's I'm trying to remember. I think it was at World's End.
Well then,
Was it? No,
uh,
no, 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 no. Because I knew at World's End, uh, Will Turner already takes over the Flying Dutchman, so it's probably like the one before it.
mm-hmm.
The whole deal with the jar of dirt is that it's what keeps him safe from Davy Jones because Davy Jones has a lot of beef to pick with Jack Sparrow. But who doesn't have a lot of beef to pick with Jack Sparrow? I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
he manages to get on everybody's bad side, even his friends. So
Yeah.
that part's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. I love that
Yeah.
scene.
I mean, I guess they
My
could. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was about to say, I guess they could have done something with, like, the Titan's heart, but that's way too big to
Oh my
fit
god.
into a jar. You know what's funny? I don't mean to digress, but I kind of jokingly said maybe for the Owl House season premiere they could do, like, the sort of screwed up version of Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, where instead of a ball dropping in Times Square, it's a Titan's heart, like, going down a
Oh
flagpole,
god.
and when it reaches the bottom, just. Just.
Or no, no, no. It has to be cute. It could be like a giant head in the shape of King's head, like a giant thing in the shape of King's head, just like.
Actually, yeah. Although that's yeah, but yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm just kind of weird like that. But yeah, I mean
No,
that's
I
like
can see it.
something.
I can
Yeah, I
see
mean like when I said out the heart, that's like something out of like the video game Doom Eternal or something like that. But it's like
like
Owl
that
House.
would be for like a really intense, really like kind of like oh stuff's going down,
Mm-hmm.
like oh my god.
Yeah, but anyway, weird, like sort of fan fiction aside. So I guess we'll. Yeah, I don't know. No, but anyway, I'm sure Dick Clark is rolling in his grave as I speak. But anyway, so I guess we'll start off with like what do we really like about this episode. Then we'll get into some of the things that we're kind of about, and maybe I don't want to go like too far into predictions because from what I understand, some people have like gotten to see like the newer episodes like in other countries like Canada. So I don't want to get too like heavy in predictions, but
Oh
we'll see what we could
nah.
do. Yeah.
I don't even think we have a lot to go on in that sense from the from this first episode anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I mean, right now we're just going to see what's happening. Like literally, we just sit back and watch the show.
Yeah.
Uh, um, what was I thinking? I don't really have anything that I just outright did not like about the episode. I don't even know if there's much that I was like about. Maybe like one or two things.
Mm-hmm.
Though seeing Eda finally use glyphs, that was probably like one of the highlights for me. You know, just seeing more of those glyphs. I enjoy so much how they incorporate them, and how they have particularly Loose, at least right now,
Mm-hmm.
um, figure out such inventive ways of using it. You know, like
Yeah.
there's so many ways to apply them that it's great to see how they take advantage of that and see, oh, how should we have her do it this time? You know, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if she did this? You know, and it's like, yes, that's great. You know, like that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, especially because at the beginning of the episode we see that both Lilith and Eda are still struggling to use magic. So to see that bit at the end where Eda's like, "I cast my light spell with the glyph," yeah, that was pretty cool. And maybe we'll get to see because
Yeah.
we've seen also there's situations even in this episode where Luce doesn't even necessarily need like pieces of paper. Like it looked like she created like when they were trying to fool that one character, which we'll get into in a second who it is, about like they make it look like they killed off the beast, and there's gonna be spoilers in the stream, just saying. I saw there were like glyphs on like the plants, like Luce brought out. Did you see that?
Oh, I did not actually. Although that would make sense if, from looking at how she figures out that she can use glyphs.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's the whole thing where she was looking at the snow and the glyph was literally in the snow.
Yeah, literally frees herself from Amity's. I don't want to call it prison, but it's the thing Amity put up to like protect Luz, but she's like
It's a
able to jump out.
protection bubble.
Yeah, I
It's
actually.
a protection bubble.
Yeah, yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, I actually rewatched that episode like just before the second season premiered, and I was like, oh yeah, that's
Oh.
technically yeah. So
Oh, good times.
yeah, so it is cool to see Eda, starting to get into glyphs, and it looks like we'll see more of that, judging on the trailer. I'm thinking of that scene in the trailer where Lilith has Hootie on her back and she's like shooting out ice spells.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
That's gonna be freaking cool. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. So.
And it's funny how they decide on having Eda use the same glyph that Luce starts out with.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was her first glyph too, right? The light glyph.
Yeah, that was her first spell or glyph, I should say. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I don't know if I remember how she figures out that one though.
It was in that episode where we're introduced to Owl Beast Eda.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was that was basically how she, I guess you could say, defeated the Owl Beast by like shining up like I think it was like a wall or something, like like a huge glyph drawing, and that kind of like I guess you could say knocks out Owl Beast Eda.
Oh, I'm
Or
laughing.
I shouldn't say knocked out. I should. Yeah, I've been.
I need to rewatch the first season again.
Yeah, I've been meaning to rewatch that one too because I really like that episode, especially the twist when they reveal it's not an intruder, it's Eda in sort of Super Saiyan form, I guess you could say.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
No, it's like, you know what form it's like? It's that you know the form that they take when like the full moon comes out?
Like a werewolf?
No, in Dragon Ball Z. Was it when the full moon comes? I think it's like at night. If you still have your tail as a Saiyan, you turn into this giant monkey beast at night.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it makes me think of. I don't remember exactly what it's called. It's been a while. But that's what it makes me think.
Yeah, I mean, I only say Super Saiyan because like that's what my cousin calls like when Star's in like her
Oh
butterfly mode.
yeah.
I once told my cousin about that, and like he's big into Dragon Ball Z, and he was like, "Oh, that's her Super Saiyan form," and I've just been
Yeah,
kind of,
yeah, cause yeah, that makes sense. Cause she'd be like, I'm just like,
mm-hmm,
but oh my gosh, Ugh, Dragon Ball though, that takes me back.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
So, but yeah, as for the rest of the sort of like sea adventure, I definitely like to build up the scene where like we see like Luz, I guess you could say, doing chores and interacting with all the people who are going on this trip. I think it was pretty cool. We get to
That
see her.
was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they like legitimately like grow fond of her. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, yay!
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely had some good build-up scenes. I'm actually gonna save like my next bullet point for like after this. But what did you think of the whole thing with Hootie and who he calls Lulu Lilith?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean that is so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That is so sweet. Like,
Yeah.
uh, it's so easy to kind of just emotionally neglect, I guess. If there's a, I don't know if there's a better way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Your comedy relief characters, because it's like, oh, they're just a silly person, like they'll be okay, blah blah blah. But no, here we're like, Hootie has feelings, and we're going to acknowledge them.
Yeah.
And Lilith's like, you know what? Okay, you're my friend. I'm just like, oh, friendship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we basically see them go from like Lilith saying "You're a really annoying bird tube thing," and then we see the two like get like start to get along, and we see like Hootie helping out Lilith by like taking out those like really crazy bees so she could get that substance in order to make a further build trust with Eda and Luz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I kind of get the sense that Hootie and Lilith are gonna have, I guess you could say, I guess you could say I have this. I'm wondering if it's gonna be a thing where it's like a sort of like odd couple team up because I still think back to that trailer where we see like Lilith carrying around Hootie like a backpack. So I'm thinking, are they gonna like team up and that sort of
Oh,
thing?
that's gonna be great.
Yeah, where it's like yeah, they're there's probably gonna be times where Lilith is like really pissed at Hootie because Hootie's that kind of like happy-go-lucky character that could occasionally drive especially Eda and Amity crazy. But his heart is in the right place basically.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and the good side about that is the fact that Hoot is also easily how should I say, kind of like, it's easy to please Hootie. Like, it could just be being with him and you'll be like, yay,
Mhm.
friendship.
Yeah, I could just like picture that in like Alex Hirsch's like high pitched voice of like, "Yay, I have friends."
I mean, doesn't he literally say like, yeah, I'm finally part of something?
Yeah, I think was that the episode we were actually talking about the adventures in the elements where King is like, "Hey, destroy my toys because they're causing mayhem in the owl house,"
No,
and
I think that
he
is it. Yeah.
yeah, and he just starts like ripping up toys, and King says the line, "This day shall live in infamy," and they like start talking as if it's like World War II.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, so that was definitely cool. I guess we'll sort of get to the part where we're both kind of like, sort of kind of scratching our heads, and that is, well, I guess I should start by saying, who is that character in the mask? Like, that golden
Ooh.
mask who, yeah,
Oh gosh, I don't remember the golden.
the Golden Guard. Like, he's,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
basically the new, sort of, I guess you could say, I don't know if I call him like Emperor Belos's new second in command, but like he's basically like now he's Lilith's replacement, right? Now that Lilith has betrayed Belos.
that could have gone a lot worse though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just saying.
And I say that and it kind of made us scratch our heads because, like, when he starts, like, talking, we were like, he doesn't sound that threatening. Like,
I don't know. Like, he sounds like kind of nice in the sense of he like it sounds super fake and you don't believe that he's actually being nice,
mm-hmm.
you know. And it's just that right kind of unsettling, but at the same time, like, it's so jarring.
Yeah.
It works though, like that's kind of good just because of like the complexities of, oh, they're in this very important kind of like system that of authority or whatever, that's kind of gray, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but yeah, it's just like I was just not expecting him to have that kind of voice. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like that too, although to be fair, Lilith did describe him as kind of like a brat, basically, right? Like, she says, like, I remember Lilith was like very, I don't know, like, how to describe, but she was like, oh, that, like, oh, that obnoxious guy. Who's now,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I was just kind of thinking, oh yeah, so that probably explains why he talks the way he does. I remember just kind of jokingly thinking, he sounds like G-rated Deadpool to me. I don't know, like, I almost, like, expected, like, the Deadpool, like, rap song from the first movie to start they're playing when he
Oh
shows up.
my
But
god.
I'm not saying, yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, like, maybe that's just it, in that maybe it's that he's this kind of bratty, maybe even like kind of like like showy sort of guy, and like that's just his personality, I guess you could say, and what like sort of makes him on the sort of side, I guess.
That and like he sound, I could imagine it being some sort of like just kind of like a meta is like, oh yeah, I have all this information memorized. I know everything that's supposed to happen, how it's supposed to happen. There's a system and it works, kind of deal, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean that's a great way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here like, was it confusing? Yes. Would I call it an eh? No, no. I think that was a
Mm.
good job because I feel like they were intentionally kind of giving him that sort of jarring voice because it's like, oh shoot.
Yeah, like as a sort of like aha, you did not expect that. I mean, I guess because
Exactly.
like to be fair, I mean it would get kind of, I don't want to say boring, but like I guess the problem if the Golden Guard like just kind of talked like Kikimura, Lilith, or Bellows, where they all sound really eerie, then they kind of start to sound like too similar. I guess that could be like the issue, I guess you could say.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still like kind of curious to like know if this guy has like a deeper story, if you will, like in the
I'd
later
hope
episodes.
so.
Yeah.
I'd hope so because I mean, we barely got to know this guy, and he's already getting pretty interesting. So I'm like, I'm ready for more.
Yeah, because he's already in the intro and he's already in like quite a few scenes in that trailer. So I'm kind of curious to see what it's like, if he goes and talks to like Emperor Bellows and sees like like when he's like planning out like schemes with Bellows. Does he talk in like a sort of like used car salesman kind of way where he's like when I'm saying like like that kind of overly positive but kind of like sort of like sketchy sort of like way of going about things.
That just makes me think of Alistair from the Has Been Hotel. There's
Uh-huh.
like this kind of really creepy shows like, hey, how are you doing? Are you ready for this? You
Mm-hmm.
know. And I'm just imagining him talking like that then for Bellows, and I'm like, oh no.
Mm-hmm. Because yeah, like the closest I could think of, it's not exactly like this, but it sort of like reminds me of like the relationship between like Iago and Jafar in Aladdin. Because while you have Jafar, who is this really sinister sounding guy, Iago's like the really animated one. So it's like I'm wondering if it's gonna be that kind of like contrast of personalities. where
I
one is
I
very
wouldn't.
sinister, the other is like more sort of lively but still sketchy kind of person.
I don't know if I would say that, just because he does seem to be on the same wavelength as Emperor Bellos, and I
Yeah.
don't think Emperor Bellos would have the patience for somebody who he couldn't really tolerate like that.
Well, in terms of like getting on his nerves, yeah. I just mean in that they're both on the same page. They just have two like distinct ways of like expressing themselves, if you will.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But now we get to like I would say I honestly say my favorite part of the episode is the ending, honestly. And like I said, that there's gonna be spoilers in the stream, especially because I think the resolution, the way Eda sort of like mends things with Luz was something I was um, well, I was genuinely not expecting, because up until that point I was pretty much in Luz's boat, where I was like, okay, I see what she means when she says that she feels a lot of guilt. No, I'm not necessarily. I'm not saying that oh, she has to like do this and like it's all your fault, all loose. But I could kind of like sympathize with where the character is coming from in that she feels a lot of guilt. I mean, it was the kind of situation in that like second to last episode of the first season where Lilith captures Luz, and that's basically what leads to that battle on the bridge, and for the duration of the battle, Eda turns into the owl beast, and she gets captured by Lilith, and then Emperor Bellos is like, I'm gonna turn you to stone for your crimes, and so you could see where Luz is coming from. But I was actually like pleasantly surprised to hear Ida basically say, you don't have to like go to all these lengths, and even like saying there's things like about you that you've helped like make my life better in terms of things like saving her from Emperor Bellos, and even getting even managing to get Ida talking to her sister Lilith again. It's the kind of thing where I was like, oh, like that's actually really good stuff to point out. You kind of get what I'm saying,
Oh,
Gabby? Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Because
Mhm.
I definitely felt the sentiment as well. That
Yeah.
you see that when you take space. Because let's be honest. Everyone
Mhm.
takes up space. And it should be okay. Because sometimes you won't always um have you know something that you can contribute into or something.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you don't contribute at all, and I
Mhm.
think that's a great way to kind of point that out.
Yeah.
Um, Especially having Ida kind of point out all the ways that she's thankful that Luce has, you know, been a part of her life, and it's sweet, it's like,
Yeah.
aw.
Mhm.
So definitely I get it. And obviously, like you said, it's not a matter of, oh yeah, that is how you should feel and you should do it and that's blah blah blah. It's like no more, it's like, oh, I know, I've been there. But at the
Mhm.
same time kind of knowing like, don't feel that way because it's okay. We do take up space. That's kind of our thing. We're people. So it's like, yeah, a relatable kind of like mentality, I guess, but one that could be easily put to rest,
Mhm.
as seen by the conversation that she has with Ida. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, it's just the kind of thing where, like, it just kind of dawned on me about, like, asking a question, well, what does Ida herself, like, think of this? Because, like, because, like, especially in the beginning of the episode, you could tell she's kind of cranky, so you can kind of see why Luz, doesn't want to, like, talk, like, doesn't really talk to, like, Ida that much, at least as far as, like, asking, like, the question, do you want me to, like, do this for you, and that sort of thing. She just kind of dives in.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Like, sometimes you just don't really feel comfortable kind of approaching somebody you really need to approach.
Yeah.
But also, we see how that kind of leads to mishaps. What
Yeah.
with Luz kind of almost getting captured by Emperor Bellus's people,
Yeah.
falling into the trap that was that kind of bounty that was placed up there.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, it even, like, kind of, like, got to a point where this whole, like, thing, because, like, the whole idea of, like, Luce, like, going on this, like, sort of quest was to, like, try to motivate you, but it was in a way almost starting to, like, work against that sort of motive, because we see the two kind of clash, like, toward the end of the episode. Like, I was even wondering, is Luce actually gonna go as far as, like, kill off this, like, creature that, like, Eda is saying, no, 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 it's peaceful. Oh, you shouldn't do this. And I think it just kind of like tells me, like, how, like, I guess you could say pressured Luce felt. There was even that line where, like, Luce sort of brings up that piece of dialogue from the very first episode where she was like, "Oh, what? Us weirdos have to stick together." Where it's like, but it's basically like you're like sort of like oath to like Ida and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like wait, but you said that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Uh,
It's like you're breaking. Like, I'm trying to like I'm. It's just sort of like you're breaking my heart, Luz. But yeah, but yeah, I would still say like I would say the ending was personally my favorite part of the episode. Did you have a favorite part, basically?
I think it had to be the moment where they're figuring out what to do in order so that they don't have to kill the creature, and we see uh, oh we see Eda using the light glyph for the first time
Mm-hmm.
to kind of make that weird shadow that looks like really scary and like she's killing off the creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really happy to see stuff like that progress because I'm like, this is what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
Like always seeing like who's going to be doing what next. Is there new powers? Who's using what? Stuff like that. Usually, I'm not much for that, but I don't know what it is. With Owl House, I just find it fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
But
because, like, is it because with the glyphs, it's a sort of like, I guess you could say, not, I mean, I guess you could say not considered, like, I guess, mainstream way of doing spells. Like, I remember when I was rewatching the first day episode, where, Luce is, like, doing that test to show Principal Bump that she can get into the school, he was like, glyphs on paper, I've never seen that before. So, like, seeing that sort of, like, it's, new territory for Luce. And I think especially because at first, like, at least to me, I thought, oh, Luce has to, like, draw glyphs and use paper because she's human. She's not from the Boiling Isle, so this is what she has to do. And now it's the sort of thing, and this is like some, like, sort of, I guess you could say, like, storyline that I like really personally like myself. The idea of now the student having to teach the mentor. I think like
there's
I
something
really
about
like
that I think I
yeah.
also really like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
like I could imagine, like, Ida is somebody that, of course, Luce, like, respects and admires, and to see now she's, I guess you could say now she's like, has this, like, I guess you could say this part of the curse where now, like, her powers are starting to weaken, and Lilith is also, also her powers are starting to weaken. So to see that aspect of student teaching the mentor this, new way of doing spells, I think is really kind of sweet.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ah, there's just so much to like unpack there. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I could go on forever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, it's certainly not like something that I was kind of expecting. I mean, I wouldn't call myself like a master of like detecting twists. Like, I was just kind of taken aback when I think my dad was like he predicted that Zuko was going to join Team Avatar in Avatar: The Last Airbender or something like that. I think he saw it coming, and I was like, what? And then when it did happen, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. So but yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
definitely a part of the story that I really like. I actually really like that scene when in not to digress, but in the episode Young Blood Old Souls where we see Eda and Lilith as kids, and like Eda trips and has that like sort of scrape. And I was thinking, oh, Lilith's going to heal Ida's injury, but what we actually see is she also like shares like the injury and gets her own like sort of scrape, using a
Oh
spell.
yeah.
So yeah, so it's like moments like these are like why like I guess you could say I really like the show.
There's uh, just so much emotion behind them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They're. I find them quite impactful.
Yeah, and I think in a way it's also kind of why like Lilith became like one of the most hated like animated characters like when the first season was ending. Yeah, I think there was like a hashtag like hashtag fuck Lilith or something like that. Just like
Harsh.
yeah, I mean just like there was hashtag fuck Simon for Infinity Train. So they sort of became like the two most
Wow.
hated animated characters. And I was like the one person who was like, I get why people really despise Simon. Like I'm also one of them who really like I'm like who is like saying oh you're such a horrible human being. But it's like Lilith is like redeemable at least. Like yeah, she's like had her like sort of done some pretty bad things, but she's still Ida's sister. And even before like Lilith like betrayed Bellows, we could see the two interacting as sisters. And now that she has straight up betrayed Bellows, we're probably going to see them like hanging out even more. Like even Ida like points out that's like you got me talking to my sister again. Like when she said that
Oh
to
yeah.
Luz. Yeah.
Um. Not to mention that how clear it is that that whole aspect of Lilith was her just being a product of her environment.
Mm-hmm.
That you're just like, yeah, I mean, does it make it completely right? No, it doesn't. But at the same time, you can't be completely mad with the person either. It's like,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah, I see. So, but yeah, I mean, basically just like what do I personally think of that hashtag? And yeah, so I don't know. Is there much more we could say about the episode? Any more moments you wanted to point out?
King in the
King.
cage.
Yeah, I like that scene too because it's the whole thing where the Golden Guard it tells Ida and Luz um go slay the creature or else I'm gonna drown King
What does he call him? A parrot, I think, right?
or something
A
like that. And
bird, parrot. I don't remember.
yeah, I don't
And
remember
he
either.
acts like a bird too, cause that's the whole thing with like the drape. They
Mm-hmm.
say like if you put a drape over your like the cage for your birds, that's how you help them go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just seeing King act like that. I'm like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
And the little sound he does, like,
yeah, that was like,
just go. Mwah.
yeah, that was like one of the most like shared scenes from that episode where like the Golden Guard lifts up that like piece of I don't know what it is cloth like over the cage and King goes wah and like starts spinning around and he goes huh wah huh wah.
Gold, comedy gold.
Yeah, so I guess you could say in that moment he kind of sounds like a parrot, I guess.
Yeah, then he has the whole thing is like, I want a cracker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if somebody has done like some kind of drawing where Luce is a pirate and King is like, probably want a cracker and sitting on Luce's shoulder.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
he's just like holding the cracker up.
Mm-hmm.
He has like some fake wings, kind of like glued onto his arms.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny furry dinosaur.
Yeah, tiny furry dinosaur. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like I've like basically summed up like all my points about the episode without like having to like summarize the whole thing. What would you
Same.
say? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I guess we'll point out one last thing in that the potion at the end Lilith basically comes up with like this potion that could like spy on the Emperor's guards.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I I don't remember if we actually get to see anything in it, right?
they do. They show that
Maybe we
like
do.
second with like the guards, but then the camera like zooms in, and we get that bit where Emperor
Oh.
Bellows is putting the portal door back together, and he says, "Knock, knock."
Yeah, oh my
Yeah,
god. How did I forget that? I can't. I
yeah.
can't.
And we also
Oh
apparently
my god.
see that Emperor Bellows had a really bad hair day because they show that look what looks like his hair, or
Oh
what
my
that is.
gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oof.
so it's just like, it's just gonna be that sort of like thing hanging over our heads for the rest of the season. Is he going to like put that, portal back together? And if he does, what's he gonna do when he comes to Earth? I'm very tempted to say maybe that's why we see that bit in the trailer with Luz's mom, but I don't know. Especially because in the last season, they showed that bit in the second trailer where they show Luz's mom, but that's not really Luz's mom. That's the Grom creature, like taking the form
Oh,
of
that's
Luz's
right.
mom. Yeah, so it's like, so I'm just kind of like holding back, like being a little more like skeptical because I think they almost got me. Like for a second, I was like, the mom comes back, but I was like, no,
Mm.
not really. So it's like, they got me.
Yeah, not to mention that it explains how Dana Terrace is going on. Like this is like the least spoilery trailer that we could come up with.
Yeah,
And it seems like part of it has to do with I guess what we could call like red herrings.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Because that was the other thing too. I don't think we pointed that out. How the whole thing with the shadow
Mm-hmm.
that was in the trailer
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the
Oh
episode. We're like, oh,
yeah,
it's going to go down. Well, it's like a tiny little like creature.
yeah. At the very
So
beginning of the episode, it's like, oh, just a tiny little creature. It's that sort of thing where it's like, oh, they got us.
yep, yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
Ah,
but yeah, I guess for me, but I could mean that in like a sort of like funny kind of way, like oh ha ha ha, I see what you're doing there, like Dana Terrace and everybody else
absolutely.
on the Owl House team.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I would not call that a bad thing at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just ingenious.
Yeah. Yeah, and just kind of funny too. But yeah, yeah, but I would overall say in the end, I would agree with you that Separate Sides was a really good way to start the second season of the Owl House. In a funny way, it's not as intense as this episode I'm gonna bring up, but in a weird way, it sort of reminded me of watching, the Avatar episode Awakening. And I'm sorry I mentioned Avatar so much; it's my favorite Nicktoon. But yeah, but in a way, it kind of reminded me of watching that episode in the sense that it may not be as crazy as where they left off, but you could sort of feel that feeling of like the sort of the after like math, like sort of I guess you could say aftershock, if you will, of what happened in like the prior episodes. Like we see, because in this episode, it's kind of one of those episodes where we see like Luce isn't the kind of happy-go-lucky character as we often see her like in this one, and she feels much more like a sense of guilt, and she's not quite as like peppy as she usually is. So she kind of,
That's a good point.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, like I think, it's that the weight of like what happened in like the past couple episodes could still be really felt. I guess it's kind of like how in Star, like after the episodes of Battle from Muni, you could tell like Star is starting to feel the weight of responsibility of running Muni and things like that. Although not quite to like that degree, but it's that sort of thing that I kind of felt watching this episode. Like it may not be as intense as something like a Young Blood Old Souls, but it still has that sort of like ominous feeling in that you could sense that Luce is still feeling guilty, and there's still a lot of like craziness yet to come, as indicated by that one scene at the end where Bellows is like putting that portal door back together, and it just kind of leaves me thinking, oh god, what's he gonna do if he comes to Earth? If he's not planning to take over, then what is he gonna do?
I'm still wondering that. Like I can't. I have no idea. Like what would he be doing?
Yeah, do you still think that he could be human? I know you talk about this in a prior video, but you mentioned he says that line "knock knock human," and you kind of took it as, oh, maybe that's a sign that he's not a human after all.
Right, yeah, because I feel like it's hard for someone who associates with that term to be using it that way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's just so separated from it due to, like, his position of power or how long he's been on the Boiling Isles, but I find that still very unlikely.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get the sense that there's got to be something else about Bellows other than, rah rah, I'm the bad guy. I mean, he certainly has, like, his own sort of list of plans, I guess you could say, and that, why does he want to come to Earth? What is this whole Unity Day that he keeps talking about? Does he really
Right.
have contact with the Titan, or is he just, being like a sort of egotistical person, like bragging that, oh, I do have contact with the Titan, even though I'm just, lying, to your faces. So,
I kind of been expecting that he's just making that stuff up.
mm-hmm. Yeah. But I guess
Uh,
we'll find out for sure, like, sort of, like, later on in the series, I guess.
yeah, it's sort of like the big questions we still have left. I'm curious to see how that turns out.
Mm-hmm. So, but
Um,
yeah, I guess so overall in the end, we definitely really like Separate Tides. So we're looking forward to the next episodes. The funny thing is that you were showing me, like, what was it, like, Disney? It wasn't Disney now. You were showing me your TV said, hey, these are the next two episodes.
Oh, yeah. There were two other ones listed on demand, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't going to be available until like the date that each one of them aired.
Yeah, at
Which
least
seemed
in
like that.
the States, because I've seen people posting pictures on Instagram of, I don't know for sure, but it looks like that second episode where um, Luce and her friends get expelled from Hexai, because there's like people posting pictures of like her with Amity, and then Amity's parents, especially her mom, and that sort of thing. So, and yeah, like you were basically saying, like I think like to both of us, we're already taking it as, oh yeah, this second episode is going to be like the really crazy one, right?
Yeah, this is the big one, and they're not playing games. They're just cutting right to the chase, pretty much. Like they could have waited another 2 episodes for this, but nope. They're like, here, have it now.
Yeah, because I think the only thing that could be really promised is Luce and her friends don't get expelled from Hexside permanently, but the conditions that they don't sound like they're going to be kind of steep. I mean, I'm not going to like look them up until the episode comes out in the States, but it's just like it sounds like, I guess you could say, shit is going down.
Absolutely. Not to mention that it's hitting me in one of the aspects that I'm really uh has it engrossed by the show for.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is Amity and Luce we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, wait, no, this was one of the big reasons I was watching the show. What are you guys gonna do to them? What?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of like nervous just thinking of the idea of like one day Amity might have to tell her parents that like she has like feelings for Luce in particular. I mean, I don't think she's gonna like outright say it in this next episode because I think it's too soon. But she's probably gonna have to like come up with some kind of way to like stop like her parents from kicking out Luce and her friends. You know.
Having kind of like oh like a Pacifica moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd
lots
love
of
to see
people.
that.
Yeah, lots of people actually compare Amity to Pacifica from Gravity
Yeah,
Falls.
they
Yeah.
got good similarities.
Mm-hmm.
She also reminds me. Have you ever watched Little Witch Academia?
Haven't even seen one episode. No.
Oh, there's one character that Amity really reminds me of,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in the aspect of uh, her having animosity towards Luce and then kind of growing into her friend
Mm-hmm.
almost reluctantly. I need to figure out what her name is. Oh, give me a moment.
Okay.
Mm,
And while Gabby looks that up, for anybody watching, please let us know your thoughts on Separate Tides. I think the chat is kind of acting strange tonight. Like, not because of anybody, but because YouTube is just being weird. But hopefully, anybody else watching, if you'd like to post your thoughts on Separate Tides, let us know. Because one of the reasons why I wanted to do this live is I enjoy interacting with the audience. Or we do, I should say.
okay, I got her name. Her name is Diana.
Uh huh.
And yeah, she has the whole thing where she's like a really affluent, rich family, highly regarded with strong magical ties kind of deal.
Mm
And she's just kind of like, oh yeah, my family, they don't like rub elbows with just anyone. Like, you have to be the best of the best for me to spend time with you, blah blah blah.
hmm. Mm
So
hmm.
that's kind of partially why I think she really reminds me a lot. Like that Amity really reminds me a lot of her. I'd say it's a good time if you want to check out Little Witch Academia, because I have a feeling that Dana Terrace may have had some influence from it. Because this would be a great place to get some ideas from for a show like Owl House, and just just great, just great.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it too. Like, I watched all of it, so I'm like, heck yeah.
Mm hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly like it does kind of seem that way. I shouldn't say certainly because I don't, I haven't heard from Dana Terrace, never got the chance to meet her and ask. But it kind of, yeah, but it seems like it would be a show that would influence the Owl House.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
guess.
just a great watch. Like, it's just a great watch. It's such a feel good show. Like, if you want to have something to watch, like with magic, just to like feel good,
Mm-hmm.
that's your show. That's your show. Don't go to magical girl anime, because I think the reality of magical girl anime is just that they are so depressing.
Yeesh.
Just
Mm-hmm.
because, like, in a lot of them, there's like some sort of really depressing thing that happens, or some sort of messed up twist to the logic of how the magic works, that you're like, oh no. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of like Madoka Magica. I don't know if you've seen that.
Nope. But I could kind of get the
Uh,
gist from what you're telling me.
yeah, yeah, you're just like, no, no, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But Little Witch Academia is very like feel good, just like, just kind of like that wholesomeness, just mm, mm, right
Mm-hmm.
up there in my list of favorites.
Yeah. I see what you mean. So, but yeah, I think also, what's funny is I keep seeing people post, that one scene in the trailer where Amity is like putting her hair up?
I think so.
Yeah, there was like a split second where she does that. And I remember seeing like a comic or something on Instagram where somebody drew that scene and in the context of that fan creation, Lucy's in it and she was like, oh my god, she looks so hot.
I mean, she would,
Mm
but it's funny how we see Luce just so kind of like in tune with her own emotions.
hmm. Mm hmm.
Like, instead of being like, ah, why am I feeling this way? What are these emotions? Or blah, blah, blah. She's like,
Mm hmm. Yeah,
they look
and
good looking.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of how like there was somebody who was asking Dana Terrace in that Reddit AMA, like, why is Luce so oblivious? Well, I guess, and Dana Terrace was like, well, there's a lot going on in Luce's life, right now.
Right, and it kind of feels like it'd be sort of out of character for Luce to be, I don't know, kind of like just jumping on the moment, especially with somebody um like Amity, just because it's so apparent how much Amity struggles with her like comfort zone,
Yeah.
and like emotional vulnerability especially
Mm-hmm.
is like a big thing for her. So Lewis is a very kind of like she comes off as a very courteous, very empathetic person.
Yeah.
Um, that's really capable of reading people really well. So I have two ideas. Either she is just completely oblivious and she's just not even trying to think about that because she doesn't want to upset um
Amity?
Amity. I
Yeah.
don't know why my brain's like, or she's very aware, but just because she doesn't want to freak Amity out, she's just like, yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, we could be buddies. Like, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like it's okay. It's okay. I'm here for when you're ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I'm not sure. It's not like a Marco situation in Star where Marco's basically like hiding his feelings for 4 seasons. Like, I don't think that's where it's going. Because it's not, that doesn't really fit Luce's personality,
No,
right?
no, and that's why I'm pointing out because I think if we were going to compare to anybody, we would be comparing it to like Star, because they're both on kind of like the peppy, happy-go-lucky type
Mm-hmm.
thing. But Star still has like a sense of awkwardness when it comes to that, while Lewis just completely embraces her crushes,
Mm-hmm.
like full on. Like she doesn't talk about like any kind of like negative experiences or kind of confusion as to any of it. She's all like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only kind of awkward thing we've seen is how she just sort of blushes at Amity's sister.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's like there could have been a million reasons why her reaction was a blush and not something else.
Yeah. Yeah, and even then, like, not that I'm trying to directly compare Star to Luz, but even like Star, it took her like a while to like tell Marco, and even when she first told him, it was in a super awkward situation where it looks like she was going to like leave him forever. In that final episode of the second season, where where she's like, "I do have a crush on you," and like runs away.
Oh,
And even
yeah.
then, it's
Mm-hmm.
not addressed for a really long time. Ooh, I'm now just thinking. Do you think Owl House would do that, where like they try expressing their feelings, but they don't talk about it for like a darn long time?
Dad, dang it! Why do I feel like there would be a result of Amity? I can't help it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
I'm
cool.
just like,
I'm just kind of. It's
ah.
just welcome to trying to predict where things may possibly go. I guess you could say.
I'm not even trying to, but my brain goes there, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
why?
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be surprised as you point out that Amity seems to have like a very like sort of defined like comfort zone. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because I even said I'm not expecting like Amity to like flat out say I love Luz to like her parents. I kind of suspect her siblings like kind of know that Amity like has feelings for Luz because at Adventures in the Elements where we see like especially like her brother like says something weird where it was like Amity was saying, and could we keep our Azura book club a secret? And her brother says something to the lines of, "We won't."
Yep.
Yeah,
That's the other thing too. Like she does not have a lot of privacy
yeah, especially,
in that sense.
yeah, but yeah, I don't, yeah, I guess
Oh, that
welcome to Amity's world. I guess I'm not
yeah.
sure what else to say.
Although I'd like to feel like her siblings stand up for her when they need to. I'd
Yeah,
hope so. I'd hope so because otherwise that'd be really sad.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of like from what little we've seen of her parents, I would say like her siblings, like they're still like teaching her how to do spells, and even though they tried to get into her diary in the that library episode, especially like compared to her parents who are just like they come off as like super controlling and authoritarian. It's like I think I would trust the siblings ahead of her parents in like those kind
Oh
of
yeah.
situations, especially if it comes to protecting Luce, because I kind of get the impression that. I mean, like, cause like her siblings so far. I mean, yeah, there was that squabble in the library episode, but they're generally friendly toward Luce, whereas her parents just come off as like straight up like hostile to people they don't like, basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And not to mention that it's kind of they kind of come off more as just kind of like teasing her,
Mm-hmm.
with being maybe going too far, but just because they just like get lost in the moment of like poking fun at her or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Like.
still, it's still poking fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think of the Adventures in the Elements episode where they're like, we promised to be like super protective, and I guess because I think back to when like Amity was first introduced, and she came off as like this very like cold like sort of bully toward Luz, and I think in that episode it might have been a thing where like even like her siblings got kind of like pushed too far because of how like cold Amity could be. Because I remember I think it was her brother who was like you've seen how she treats people like to Luz, and they I think you
Mm,
know he and his sister wanted to like expose the diary as a way of getting back to Amity and that sort of thing.
right, right.
Yeah, but of course we find that it's not that Amity is like a bad person deep down. It's just it's basically like her way of kind of like protecting herself.
Right,
Yeah.
both from emotions and from the repercussions of her parents,
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way,
which would be a big deal.
uh, by the way, shh. EA Games has a 30% stake in Blight Industries. I'm just joking, but like I'm so tempted to like make that joke. I mean, are you familiar with EA Games Electronic Arts, Gabby?
EA Games, yes,
Yeah, because
yes,
they're
I
like
have.
considered one of the most hated video game publishers out there. So I couldn't help but sort of like make a joke that like they have stock.
Wait, they're hated?
Yeah, especially these days, for coming off as like kind of greedy and things like that. But I'll leave that for others to discuss. But I was just kind of tempted to make that sort of joke.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think I did hear something about that, but I don't know, I kind of forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know EA Games. Oy,
Hmm.
oy vey.
I almost want to like ask the question. Maybe I'll even like post this on like Twitter later. I want to kind of like ask people who would you trust as a company executive, the Blights or Tom Nook?
No. The answer is no.
Yeah, because it's either we're horrible parents or this like character in Animal Crossing who's like they tried to take money out of your pocket basically. It kind of cracks me up how like people make all these like jokes that like Tom Nook is like this sort of like super corporate kind of guy, this like greedy person on Animal Crossing.
Yeah, like a loan shark.
Loan Shark, which actually, yeah, that kind of makes sense because when I think about the things that like he tries to sell in like, especially the later games, like the one for 3DS, where it's like oh, you can expand your house for this whole ton of money and you could pay it back through this loan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in that situation, it just kind of becomes like a pick your poison, I guess. But
It's like stay with a small house or get into more debt.
either way is welcome to me. But
Either way, I'm going to be getting your money.
mhm. Yeah, but yeah, I guess we'll have to like see in later episodes, what exactly Amity's parents are outside of being, you know, pretty bad parents, to put
Yeah.
it nicely, and running what seems like a really like sketchy company. I'm still kind of surprised. There's like straight up light industries, and I was just like, oh my god, like that sort of thing is just like, yeah. I mean, like I was expecting like her parents to be like some sort of like really like sort of elite, but I didn't expect like like it sounds like they run this like big company and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It comes off oddly progressive for how they've been sounding like this whole time.
Mhm.
Because instead of focusing of like traditional forms of magic, it's like electronics.
Mhm.
Inventions, innovation. You're like,
Yeah. Like
okay.
yeah, but you're not off to a really good start. I still think of that
Uh,
comic from the Instagram artist Mooring Mark, where like he drew kind of, I don't want to say predictions, but he kind of drew a comic based on the trailer. And when he got to Amity's parents, he put in a panel that was like introducing the Cyberbug. It was kind of like a knock at Tesla's Cybertruck.
oh wow.
Mm,
Okay. Yep. Mm.
yeah, but it's like, geez, we're like talking like about like Amity and her family at this length, and we'll have to like see the episode, and I hope people out there who have gotten to see it in if like the episodes were released early in the country they live in. That's really cool. I'm just trying to avoid spoilers because I don't want another like Star season 2 situation. I'm kind of weird with spoilers in that there's some I don't mind, like when Infinity Train. Like, do you mind if I give out some Infinity Train spoilers?
Go ahead.
Like, so I mentioned before, there's this crappy, like, sort of like cruel character named Simon, right? One of the big spoilers I bumped into on Instagram was I find out there's a scene where he gets like those numbers that all the passengers get.
Right.
There's a scene where he has like numbers like all over his freaking body, and it was just like oh, okay. And then I find out, I mean, it's significant, but it only lasts for like a couple minutes. But it's the kind of spoiler where it's just like, oh, that's crazy. But I wasn't freaking out like when I found out about Star and Mark, not Star Marco, but like Marco kissing Jackie, where I was just kind of like freaking destroyed.
Oh, that's like a whole different thing because it's like the one spoiler is more like, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to be looking forward to because there's still questions to answer from it.
Yeah.
But like something like the whole kiss with Marco and Jackie, it's like, oh, snap, like that's it, like that's
Mhm.
the thing, and you're just like, yeah, dang
Yeah.
it.
Well, actually, yeah, in that sense, it makes sense. I mean, I guess I am admittedly kind of arbitrary when it came to spoilers. Avatar was another show I didn't mind spoilers because I actually found out about what happens in Crossroads of Destiny like well before I actually got to watch the episode. Because back then I wasn't using iTunes, I just had to buy the episodes when they came out on DVD. So I found out about what happened in the third season like pretty early. Even like Sozin's Comet, they released a book like months before the episode came out, and they changed up the ending a bit, but still, I basically found out like what happened like well before, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But with Owl House, I'm just like, I don't want to take risks. I was already kind of feeling weird when I saw those screenshots from the trailer before we got to check it out. So I'm like, yeah, if I see a spoiler, I'm probably gonna start acting like Eric Andre at Coachella. Yeah, there's actually a funny skit where like Eric Andre talked about how he missed out on seeing some Tupac hologram at Coachella, and he started like screaming and ripping grass out of the ground during like a very mellow like Snoop Dogg song, and he said the crowd one by one was like slowly starting to look back at this crazy guy screaming, "Bury me alive! Bury me alive! I don't deserve to live!"
Hey, I mean, it sounds like it was kind of like an unannouncing like a surprise type of deal. So I don't blame him. But
Hmm. Well, it was a thing where it's like he really wanted to see the hologram, but when he missed out, he just kind of snapped.
no, yeah, and especially when you go to events like that, and you have that one thing that you really want to say, you're like, no.
Yeah, yeah. Although, granted, I'd probably still be sort of like panicky when crazy things happen later on this season. But I guess I'll just pull a Rodney Dangerfield and like say things like, Luce gets no respect. I tell you,
No respect.
yeah, no respect at all. I mean, I
Ah.
guess that's a kind of a funny way to sum up what happens at the end of the first season, where you could basically just say Eda gets no respect, uh, no respect at all. I'm trying to think of like a funny, like sort of Dangerfield way to describe the ending, where it's like, well, it's like Lilith is her sister, and yet I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a funny, like sort of contrasty punchline, but it's not coming to me right now.
Aw,
But
that's
yeah,
okay.
or maybe something thing. It's like what did she do? She captures or takes her to the sketchy emperor who wants to turn her into a statue, and not one of those like nice statues you would see at like yeah, at the local museum. It's like it just makes you think, what is this? What's this guy up to? What's his business? What's he gonna do? Like I, I do what they do in Narnia, where you get turned to stone and then bam.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was admittedly a really terrible Dangerfield image. Isn't this great? I feel like I've made both Rodney Dangerfield and Dick Clark roll in their graves.
Two for two, it's cool.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of acting crazy like that. I mean, is there much more to say? Again, I didn't want to get, like, too much of predictions. And to be fair, like Gabby said, there isn't, like, a ton to, like, go off of in this episode. It's not one of those like really big epic Owl House episodes where there's like it's not like these season finale episodes, for example, where there's like oh yeah, I could see this, and this. I mean, the closest I could really think of is like the relationship between Hootie and Lilith, and then the whole thing where like Lilith comes up with that potion at the end. I'm just thinking, are they going to be looking into that potion even more? I was even wondering, do you think like Emperor Bellows is aware that like he's being watched?
The idea with I, I believe the term is pronounced scrying, right? Is that what they said it was?
I don't know.
Give me a moment. I will find out.
Okay. So, yeah, once again, for anybody else watching, if you would like to leave your thoughts on the episode, whether either when the stream is going or even when it's over, just let us know any predictions. I'm going to say for streams, try not to get like very spoilery about later episodes, because episodes like um, the expulsion episode and the new one in the library haven't been released in the States yet. So, yeah, just kind of bear that in mind. So,
All right, so yeah, it is scrying, and for context as to what scrying is, according to Google, to foretell the future using a crystal ball or other reflective object or
mm-hmm.
surface. So yeah, the idea is that you look into what's going to happen or what's currently happening, without the other person knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no. The idea is that Emperor Bellis doesn't know either that or that what they're looking at is something that's still yet to happen,
Hmm.
not actually happened yet.
Well, so it's cause so it's not like a security camera, because I was under the impression it's like a security camera.
It can be, but it's not like there doesn't have to be anything there that'll make it obvious for Emperor Bellis to be like, "Oh, I'm being spied on."
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
It's just kind of like it shows you what it wants to show you, and it's random,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one way.
I see. Because I was kind of admittedly under the impression, because when he said that line, knock knock human, I was thinking, does he know, or is it again like it's something that is yet to happen?
Maybe, maybe.
Hmm. Or
Either
maybe.
he was referring to humans in general,
Hmm.
or it's a future point in time in which it's gonna be where Luce is there and he sees her.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah,
Hard to
I
tell.
see. Yeah. So. So yeah, although it would be really useful if they could use that like as a sort of way to sort of predict the future in terms of what could happen next, I guess.
Uh, it's kind of what it can do, although it just varies from interpretation to interpretation on how the logic works.
Hmm. Yeah,
Because
but
I think they have a similar thing in Harry Potter, but that's more kind of like stuff that's going to happen in the future.
I'm
Or no,
trying
no, no,
to.
no, no. Ah, I don't know, but the point is, it's just kind of like, uh, the point is that the whole deal is kind of wishy-washy. Like it's not for certain.
I see.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I guess we'll find out more exactly how that potion works in like maybe a future episode.
Right, right. Well, we'll get to see how they implement it.
Hmm. So I'm trying to think of what else to say aside from so yeah, but yeah, because personally, like now I think that I'm pretty much tapped out as far as what I could say about this. But yeah, but I would say overall in the end that yeah, that we definitely do really like this first episode of the season. And yeah, it's probably are things are gonna get pretty crazy in the next episode. Um, yeah, because especially because if they're starting off with like Amity's parents by putting them in silhouette and we can't quite see them in Understanding Below, and yeah, I know people point out that you could see them as teens in the was it Young Blood Old Souls? I remember somebody was pointing that out, but it's like
Right,
well,
yeah, they're in the bleachers.
yeah, and yeah, so I'm just like so just like guess we'll just have to see. I mean, is I'm just wondering is there going to be a lot of Lumity moments? I really need to fix
I
this
hope
flag.
so.
This is just kind of like very crudely put together. There's not even like a duplicate side. It's just plain and
Aw.
nothing on the backside. But yeah, yeah. So we'll get to find those episodes and hopefully not get too spoiled too much because it's like one of the dark sides of social media and the cartoon community is you can find lots of people who are into the same show. The problem is you have to sort of play like a game of like dodge the spoiler, if
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying. Because I know there's some people who are like really courteous and they'll like do the thing on Instagram where their first post will say spoiler alert and then you have to scroll to see the rest. But I still see a lot of people posting like pictures of what Amity's parents look like.
Well, I was under the impression there was like an unwritten rule, even with stuff that comes out at the same time everywhere, just not to talk about it until like a week.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
probably why like Disney Channel waited. Like I noticed today, it looks like they just posted that scene where Eda and Luz kind of they have their dispute in the Separate Tides episode. Like they just posted that. They
Uh-huh.
didn't like do it right when the episode came out. I guess to give people time to watch the episode.
Right, yeah. And I mean, especially with stuff like that, like I mean, obviously, depending on like your position, a week or maybe less,
Mm-hmm.
because there are people who dedicate themselves to covering this kind of stuff like us, so it's like, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it's also like important. Like even though like I tend to be a person who doesn't get to watch these like new shows or movies right away, but I think it's also important for me to like sort of keep that sort of 1 week rule in mind. There's a cosplayer that we've met before. I noticed that when she posts on Instagram, especially if it's like around spoilery time, she'll start off her post, saying like in the caption, this post is going to contain spoilers, and it's done in a way where it's like you can't see the spoiler details unless you tap the see more button on
Yeah,
Instagram.
and I think that's a great way to go about it. Like
Yeah,
if you're still going to be doing that, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Uh, let's just make sure that it's not going to be like the first thing everyone sees.
yeah, because I'm speaking from experience. That doesn't really go down well. Yeah, especially because I know there's some people out there who don't mind spoilers. Like I know, like my sister Penny doesn't really care about spoilers, and then in certain situations, it's like if I find out about a spoiler, then I'm like oh, it kind of took away a little bit of the excitement. Like I'm wondering what would have happened. Like, did you know that? Did we both find out at the same time that like Lilith was the one that cursed Eda? Like we didn't know until because I didn't
I
know
think
until I saw
so,
the
yeah.
episode. Yeah,
I think so, yeah. I think we both found out at the same time. Cause,
yeah.
yeah, I thought it was something else.
Like her parents.
Oh, I remember I had a weird idea that it had been Hootie.
Udi. Well, was it because
Yeah.
he could be pretty destructive?
But I was thinking because it almost looked like Hootie's round eyes and like round shape, kind of looking with like the figure that was at the door.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the whole idea that Hootie being an owl and then the house being, under his control and then being like secretly like this whole kind of parasitic thing. I don't know, came into my mind where it's like, oh, they both depend on each other now and have to make nice after he gave her this curse, sort of thing. But obviously that wasn't the case.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. It was when Lilith kind of let slip that she was the one when she tells you to like you were very easy to curse. It's like you what?
Yeah, yep. That's kind of like a big bomb to drop right there, in the middle of
Yeah,
nowhere.
and that's what led to the fandom hating Lilith for at least a while. So yeah,
I mean, she quickly redeemed herself.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, cause like I had like this kind of like feeling that Lilith would. It was just kind of a question of when was she going to redeem herself.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I mean, at least it wasn't like Jasper in Steven Universe, where it's like she only sort of kind of got to get her redemption. It was just kind of like halfway sort of deal. And
yeah,
way later into the show, like with Lilith, it was like that.
yeah. I see. Um, I don't know. I know. I think I mentioned this a lot, but it's like, do you think Bosch is gonna be redeemable at some point?
I don't know. I'm not interested in seeing her redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, she seems just like a little brat. I don't know what to think of her besides that.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's people out there who apparently ship Basha with Willow, but it's like,
Nuh-uh, no, bad dynamic, really bad dynamic, toxic.
yeah, that's
I mean, what, like the angry bully doesn't know how to express their feelings, so instead they just bully the person they like. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's not even like it doesn't even come
no.
off as like an Arnold Helga situation. It just kind of looks like Basha's like a pretty crummy person.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Mhm.
And even then, like with that kind of dynamic, there has to be some sort of clear distinction that it's there's a limit, there's a boundary that the person doesn't cross. Basha does not do that.
Yeah. No. Cause
Basha goes all the way.
yeah.
And that no, No, you do not want a partner that goes that far. So,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I know
yeah.
we're talking about like some fake characters behaving this way, but like, yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just me, but I always have a pet peeve for like toxic shippings that, people just kind of like look up to for their relationships. I'm like, you don't want a relationship like that.
Yeah,
No.
no.
I mean, like, unless they can redeem themselves, in that case, there may be something. But no.
Yeah,
Like the whole Harley and Joker thing, or like in the horror community, like the Chucky and Tiffany thing. It's like, oh yeah, I want a relationship like Chucky and Tiffany. It's like, no, no, you don't. They literally stab each other with knives and shoot each other or hit each other with a shovel. That's not what you want in a relationship.
yeah, no, yeah, I don't think so.
So like that's just kind of thing I think about with like Sasha. And I'm like, why would you do that to poor Willow?
Mm-hmm.
Willow didn't do anything.
Yeah,
Okay, but enough of that.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, so yeah, because I'm not really sure like what else to say. I just kind of like sort of went there just as we were starting to kind of wander off. But I think do you think we could end things off here?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a little tapped out as far as the episode goes.
yeah. So yeah, because I have a feeling we're probably gonna have a lot to say when the next episode. I think it's even called Escaping Expulsion, right?
I do not remember.
Yeah, I'll double check on Instagram because I still remember there was like the one episode when like they released the titles. There was that one person. He was like Amity's parents did what?
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god.
And one of the videos on Disney TVA's Instagram is King doing the what? Like when he's spinning
Oh,
around the
that's
cage.
that's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I love that part. That was just funny.
Yeah. Yeah, escape. Yeah, so escaping expulsion. Yeah, that's the name of the episode, which comes out in the states on the 19th, and we look forward to talking about that. If I have
Oh
not,
my gosh. That's my like anniversary with Colin. Like that's when we made it official
oh,
on the
I see. Oh,
19th.
hey,
Oh
hey, there's
hey!
something you
Oh
could do
gosh!
for the.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something that you could do with your anniversary with Colin.
That and it's the day before Father's Day, so double whammy.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. Oh,
Woo!
now I'm just picturing like Owl House fans watching this episode with their fathers, and it's like, considering this is an episode where it looks like where Amity's parents, her dad, most likely, it's like,
Oh
yeah, what a
no!
great episode to watch with your dads.
Happy early Father's Day. Here's a broken family dynamic.
Yeah.
Thankful we're not like them.
Yeah, I mean, is it?
Yay!
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of how like it just so happened when Separate Tides came out, it was only a couple days after my birthday, and now for like basically like all the Owl House fans, especially ones who have like close relationships with their dad, it's like yeah, here's a great episode to watch like right before Father's Day.
Oh my god. No, forget the kids who have a good relationship with their parents. What about those with the gray, that kind of like, ooh, ooh, this is getting a little too real.
Hmm.
Owl House, no. I'd been pepping myself up for this day just to bear through it. Don't remind me.
Hmm. Don't remind me of the more complicated things.
Oh my gosh. It's like, remember this, isn't this fun? It's like, no.
Yeah, just kind of like nervously nodding like through the episode and kind of tugging at the collar like, ooh, it's like, this is great.
Yeah,
This is great. Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So, Yeah, so that's the next episode we'll be checking out. And once again, try not to get too spoilery, at least up until when the episode comes out. So yeah, because I do feel like happy for people who have if Disney Channel released the episode around the world early, for people outside the U.S. I'm happy for them. I'm just just don't tell me spoilers, please.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's just kind of like one of those things that you know start to get everybody on the same page for.
Yeah.
And I mean, like it's kind of it's kind of like about time, because we're at least for a lot of stuff like from Disney, it feels like we're always the first people to get it here in the U.S. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's about time, like somebody else gets kind of like that
Yeah.
special treatment.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of reminds me in a weird way of how, with Nintendo consoles, I think at first they used to get released in Japan first, and then, a year or two later, they would come to the US, and now it's like they come out at the same time, at least with the Switch.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
because I remember, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly, the 3DS came out in Japan first, and then it came out everywhere else after that. But for the Wii U, it was like it came out in North America first, and then the rest of the world. So it's kind of like taking turns in that aspect, I guess.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Just maybe don't spend too much time on Instagram, I guess. I would say Instagram's
Oh,
probably the worst when it comes to, avoiding spoilers.
I didn't come across too many of them,
Mm hmm.
but I'd figured it'd have been Twitter with most of the spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Although nowadays I'm trying to do the thing where I don't become I'm no longer one of those people that just scrolling on Twitter all day long because I find that it just kind of adds to my anxiety when I'm just one of those people that has nothing to do but to scroll and that kind of
Oh
thing.
no, yeah. And a couple of times I've done it, like things get really heavy on Twitter, so I'm like,
Yeah. So
like at least with Facebook, even though things can get heavy in the comments, like you can easily scroll away. You're like,
mhm.
let's move on to something else. Let's yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
just like
but Twitter, it's like it's right there, and there'll be multiple people talking about the same thing, and you're like,
yeah.
oh
I mean,
no.
after a while, I'm just like, I'm gonna go listen to Barry Manilow's Bandstand Boogie song for the 300th time. It's like, I'd rather, or, I mean, because I'd much rather listen to the theme song for American Bandstand than Amity's parents did what? And I didn't even see the episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because then I'd probably not to bring him up again, but it's like I'd probably pull an Eric Andre where he just kind of screams and destroys his set at the beginning of every episode. I'm just thinking, what if imagine if he dressed up as Emperor Bellows and he started destroying his set in the costume and just starts attacking people in the costume.
Oh my god. What kind of. Oh no. Oh gosh. I have a mental image now.
Oh, I just gave you a mental picture.
No, you know what I picture? No, that's how I picture you going to be like after we watch this next episode. You're
Mm-hmm.
just going to start the blog with like you running around just destroying the set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we could
And it's just like taking a moment, breathing. It's like, okay, now I say it. Now we talk about the episode.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wished I could do that. Do that if I ever do another Eric Andre video. Just can't really go destroying like my bedroom doing that. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be a lot of cleanup. That's the sad thing with things like with ideas like that because it's always like the cleanup afterwards that you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh no,
Yeah, there was even one time I
oh
was watching the behind the scenes of the Eric Andre show where Eric actually hurt himself doing one of those things where he throws himself and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna need medical attention for that." Yeah, because like he felt
yeah.
something in his head that seemed like they even show like he goes to the hospital later for something in his head.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And like what show is it like Jackass? They do a lot of crazy stuff there where they get hurt too, right?
Yeah. Like, I still remember my friend from high school was like, "Have you seen the Lamborghini tooth pull?"
What's oh no, Lamborghini too
And
what?
I'm like, "Okay, I mean, I think I'd rather like drive a Lamborghini down a country road than watch somebody pull out a tooth with one of those really expensive cars." Yeah. Like, I don't know, the car nerd in me is kind of thinking, why would you use a Lamborghini to do that?
I'm just thinking of the poor person attached to the car.
Yeah. I mean, like, man, I'm just like thinking, where did the guys from Jackass like get the guts? I enjoy watching like their stunts, but I'm just like, where do you find like the kind of like sort of like energy and the will to like do all those stunts? Even like, have you seen Off Road Tattoo? It's literally like that, like
No.
the stunt person Steve-O in a Hummer, like it's like rocking around on this bumpy road while he's getting this tattoo on his arm.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, and I was just what? Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I'd say it's probably some sort of weird combination of adrenaline and dopamine.
yeah, probably. Or like I remember one that's even like back when he was into Jackass 3D, he showed me. Have you seen the Poo Cocktail Supreme?
Oh heck no, I have not.
Yeah, it's literally one where Steve-O is like in a porta potty full of crap, and it's like flung in like the air up and down, and he's just in this like thing that's just full of dung, and Steve-O is puking, and yeah,
Oh god. That doesn't sound sanitary. Like I'm
it's
pretty sure
not,
you could get some sort of thing like salmonella or something from that.
and that's why
Ugh.
Jackass is not the best movie or show to watch on a full stomach.
I mean, I probably would have some trouble, but I've watched some crazy stuff while eating,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. When you know it's real, there's something about that you just like you can't. It hits differently.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird in that like for some reason like I know like actually nah it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah. I don't know. How did we go from like talking about Owl House to Jackass somehow?
Eric Andre.
Somehow we went from Owl House, Eric Andre to Jackass. Apparently,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yep, just typical conversation. It's all good.
yeah, it's all good. So yeah, so I think now for sure I'm gonna say we'll end things off here because now we're kind of going into like talking about whatever, basically. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing Escaping Expulsion. I'll just watch a ton of American Bandstand that day so I don't completely, like, have a heart attack, like watching Luz trying to get back into school.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh. I'm excited,
mhm.
although nervous. So I think it'll
Yeah.
be
I mean,
okay.
honestly, part of
But
the reason why I rewatched those is I like this idea of like coming on the show and presenting these episodes not in a way where it's like you're gonna like suffer a heart attack and it's too much to take in, but rather taking it in as just like having a good time, like going to like a Halloween party or watching like this cool show with all these like catchy songs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
yeah.
why these days I do the thing where if I where's my phone? Could I put my phone? But you get what I'm trying to say. I do the thing where like I hold up the screenshot of the episode. You know what's funny is I'm thinking
Yay!
maybe when we get to the episode where they show Amity's mom, it's like maybe instead of saying yay, we just kind of go boo.
Boo!
Yeah,
Oh, that'll be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. So, all right, so we'll end things off here. If anybody else is watching this in the future or this time, just let us know in the comments what you think of this episode, what you think is going to happen in later episodes. Just don't get really spoilery when it comes to the episodes like Escaping Expulsion or the one in the library, because I think those two are already released in like different parts of the world, just not here. So yeah, so leave all those thoughts via comments, and thank you, Gabby, for coming on. It's good fun talking. And yeah, I think we really pulled it off this time.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. All right, so until next time, this has been Bloodman Bobby and Gabby. If you enjoyed this stream, give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm also gonna have a link to my Discord, where where I was thinking would be a good place for people to talk about what they think is gonna happen in the Owl House and their thoughts on the episode. So, yeah, so go and follow the Discord because I would really like to talk about not just Owl House, but even things like Nintendo just had their E3 2021 conference today. I'd even be down to talk about something like that on Discord. So, yeah, so go ahead and give us a follow. And until next time, this has been Bloodman Bobby and Gabby, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.